highly topical, shall we say, right now. We're very happy with the enthusiasm that people have created this program with, so we'll probably do it again sometime. And you all know Ken, who sets up all these programs and does just about all the other work at 40 Plus. And with that, I'm going to turn the program over to them and we'll get started.
Great.
Thank you.
So, just a quick couple of notes on Colleen. Colleen recognized early on that LinkedIn could connect the world's B2B professionals and provide them a way to do business, network, further their careers, and share knowledge and expertise. She launched Intero Advisory for individuals and companies focused on increasing their sales and talent initiatives. Since 2011, Intero Advisory, a LinkedIn consulting, coaching, and training firm, has engaged more than 280 companies to increase their presence, revenue, and hiring opportunities, applying Colleen's insight, strategy, and techniques. Colleen and Intero shake up the status quo with a personal approach to business by maximizing an individual's network, personal brand, and expertise. She has a master's degree in publication design from the University of Baltimore, so she made a big journey to be with us today, and an undergraduate degree in mass communications from Towson University. I participated in a day-long version of this program a number of years ago in the beginning part of my search. So as I've told several of you, in some respects we're going to be sharing 7 hours of content in 2 hours, so don't blink. So with that, Colleen, thank you so much for being here.
I have to say, in 7.5 years, I've talked to a lot of people. Your group is one of my favorites, right? So we have a lot to talk about. We're going to cover this pretty quickly. To say it's going to feel like a fire hose. You're going to leave being like, wow, I'm not really quite sure where to begin. Begin in one place, right? One step at a time. You're going to master one piece at a time. But what I want you to be able to do is leave here, go home, go to your home office tomorrow, whatever it is, and be able to have actionable steps to work on your profile, build your brand, and expand your network, leverage your network, have job preferences all set up, and start thinking about what that next step is if you haven't thought about it yet. If you already have thought about it, get to work, right? Start reaching out to some people who can be those hiring managers and make a difference in your career transition. Sound good? Yeah. Questions? Bring them on, right? Comments, questions, raise your hand, shout them out. It makes it much more fun if it's interactive. So I just want to talk about LinkedIn and its kind of ecosystem. LinkedIn's greater mission is actually to create the largest economic graph in history, meaning they want to connect jobs with people. That's their whole mission. They're really, really focused on that. So when LinkedIn, LinkedIn's not about how much time you spend on it. I might some days only spend 10 or 15 minutes on it. Very intentional. I know what I'm doing there. I want to go there, do what I need to do, and move on. But I engage with people every day on LinkedIn. I research companies. I follow companies. So I connect with people, I follow companies. I get job opportunities all the time. I have my skills in there, right? Recruiters and hiring managers are looking and sourcing by skill. So we have a recruiter on our team, and we actually use LinkedIn Recruiter. LinkedIn Recruiter is LinkedIn's product that gives a recruiter, in-house or external recruiter, access to the entire LinkedIn network. So our recruiter can sit in Baltimore, and she could be recruiting for a company in Seattle, Hawaii, UK, doesn't matter. We have access to everybody. So bigger companies are using LinkedIn Recruiter, and it has upset these the whole outside recruiter platform, right? Well, that whole industry, because companies can now go direct and look for talent. Companies, and I was just with a group this morning, CEOs, I'm talking to them about not just posting jobs and waiting for people to apply. I talk to companies about going to find the talent that you want. Go find the people that you want to hire. Do you want to be the people that they want to hire because you stand out and because they can find you because of how you build your profile? We're going to look at that tonight. So skills are really important on LinkedIn. You can be endorsed for your skills. That's important. It raises your ranking within LinkedIn. So everything we talk about tonight, as it relates to your profile, is about increasing your ranking so you're more visible within LinkedIn. And I definitely recognize in a group this big, we've got some people who are more novice and some people who are power users of LinkedIn. So I'm going to try to find a place that connects with everybody while we're here. Schools. How many of you went to a school that has a big alumni network? Awesome. I'm going to show you how to look at your whole alumni network right through LinkedIn. Has anybody done that? Looked at your alumni network that way? I'm going to take a look at that. Knowledge. Maybe you look at a couple of job descriptions and you think you're really qualified for that job, but maybe there's just one or two things you might be missing. If you're on LinkedIn, you can actually, if you're a premium member, or you can even do like a trial still, you can go to lynda.com. Anybody familiar with lynda.com? And take a particular course. Their courses are amazing.
What is
Right.
Lynda?
Lynda, LYNDA.com, and you can access it right through LinkedIn. So you see LinkedIn is actually trying to create this ecosystem where from connecting with people to tapping into your alumni network to enhancing your skill set right through LinkedIn, it's all right there for you. So I want you to be able to see the power of LinkedIn. Kevin?
So I've used Lynda on other platforms. If you access it through LinkedIn, does it actually change your profile in any way if you complete a course in Lynda?
If there's a certificate at the end, you can then add that certificate automatically right to your LinkedIn profile.
Okay,
If that
but
course
you do that
offers it.
yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So what we're going to focus on tonight is really crafting your personal profile. Every person in here has a personal brand. We want that to look really good. Some of you are still in companies, that's why I have corporate brand there too. Build meaningful relationships through LinkedIn. Depending on what your strategy is, it's going to be dependent on how you build your profile, your network, right? Some people can have a really, really effective network with just a couple of hundred people in it. But recognize, more things become available to you if your network is larger, right? But you don't want it so large that you actually don't know the people in your network, because then you just have an address book, right? Not really helpful. So you want to find that balance between having the right people in there and having enough so that when you do searches, more people come your way. Right, so your first level connections are really, really important. Sorry, this is actually a typo here. But COIs, these are the most important people in your network, your centers of influence. We're going to download your network today, and we're going to look at that. I want you to begin to understand and identify your centers of influence, the people that you really know, like, and trust, and they know, like, and trust you. They use LinkedIn. They have a great network. Those people can introduce you to other people. We want to leverage your network of first level connections and stay up to date on industry information, research companies. So maybe a company that you're interested in is not hiring. Along the right-hand side of their company page, you can see other companies just like them that maybe you're not familiar with, so it can uncover some potential leads. And we're going to talk about engaging on LinkedIn so that you can be actually much more visible because you're sharing content. So LinkedIn creates a workforce report. I thought you might find it interesting. And it's a national look at talent in the world right now, and nationally at least. And then they actually have reports on the top 20 cities in the country. So there's one on DC. Might be interesting to read. Everybody will have this deck at the end if you want me to send it to you. I'm happy to do that. But you could Google LinkedIn workforce report. It's going to give you some ideas where it might give you some ideas on the state of the talent in DC today. But notice, right now there's 146 million workers on LinkedIn in the United States. You've got to stand out. There's a lot of people, right? How do we stand out on LinkedIn? Over 20,000 companies use LinkedIn as their #1 recruiting tool, right? They're using LinkedIn. They have in-house recruiters, hiring managers, outsourced recruiting firms, all using LinkedIn to recruit talent. And they're doing very specific searches. One of the things you have to identify as it relates to a job is what kind of keywords are they using in that job description, right? Super important. You could be the most perfect person for the job. If your keywords don't match up to the keywords in that job and you apply online, they may not see you. probably won't see you. So I'm going to show you how to find some more keywords. Over 3 million jobs are posted on LinkedIn in the US every month. I think really LinkedIn has changed the paradigm of recruiting, because now companies can go direct and find the people that they're interested in hiring. So what I want you to take away from today is, will you commit to bettering your profiles? Because your profile is fundamentally your professional story, and it needs to stand out. Recruiters look at a lot of LinkedIn profiles. Our recruiter probably looks at 300-400 profiles a week at least. A lot of them are really boring. I mean, they just are, right? It's like, you know, when a recruiter looks at 200 resumes, after a while they all look the same. How can you stand out? I want you to find, you know, your why. Why do you want to do the work you do? Why have you done it for 25 years? What are you passionate about? Tell a story. It's almost like writing a human interest story, and I know it's hard to write about yourself, so write it all down, have somebody else edit it, but try to move your profile from an online resume to something that's a little bit more compelling. Right? Your resume is going to have all of that factual information, so commit to improving your profiles. Creating and sharing content within the industry that you're interested in, right? It's going to increase your visibility on LinkedIn. Very, very important to do. People want to know you're relevant, and you can comment on that. You can put your perspective on it, especially if you've been in that industry for a while. And today, I think you really have to have a strategy for LinkedIn, because you can get on LinkedIn. How many people get on LinkedIn and sort of end up going down a couple of rabbit holes? Right? There's a lot of rabbit holes. I can. Sometimes I'm like 3 minutes in, I'm like, why am I here? Right? So you want to have very intentional activities that you're going to do on LinkedIn every day for networking. And we have, one of our resources is activities to do. 10 minutes. If you can just spend 10 or 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, you can reach a good number of people. You can start conversations. So how many of you have Googled yourself lately? 2 people. So open up a tab and go online if you have something to go online with. And Google yourself, please. This is always fun. If you have a common name, or you have a name you share with a celebrity, an athlete, criminal, somebody today who's like the CFO who had embezzled money, I'm like, okay. You have to work a little bit harder. But shout out what comes up when you Google your name. What do you see for yourself? LinkedIn. Number 1, 2? Number 1.
Facebook.
Danielle?
Is LinkedIn also number 1?
Number 1. Henrietta? Do you have, are you on?
I don't have it.
Okay. Oh, you. Anybody else? Maureen? Number 2?
Yes, LinkedIn.
Number 1?
2 other people with my name and then me.
Okay.
Oh,
Right? So is LinkedIn coming up on the first page? 1, 2, 3, 4? 3? Okay. It should come up on the first page, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Google bases everything in their search results on credibility. How much trustworthiness there is from that website. So LinkedIn.com is obviously considered a very credible website, and therefore Google says for every member we're going to give you a little bit of search engine optimization love. We're going to give you a little help here, because LinkedIn should be your up-to-date professional information, which means unless you're doing nothing on LinkedIn and a whole lot on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, LinkedIn will always come up as the highest result in terms of social channels. Okay? And I don't look at LinkedIn as social media. It's a business tool. But in that context of platforms, we're going to consider it a social channel. So your LinkedIn profile comes up 1, 2, 3, 4. People can click on that. The question is, what do they see? Right? They're not connected to you necessarily, but they can see a version of you. 8 seconds. They're going to spend 8 seconds once they get to your LinkedIn profile. Does it tell your story? Right? Does it really set you apart? And then you can open up another tab or just go over that. A couple of years ago, LinkedIn launched Sales Navigator. And LinkedIn Sales Navigator is LinkedIn's product for sales and business development. Really great product. When they did, they actually rolled out a tool that we can use that will tell us how effective we are on LinkedIn. So I want you to just jump over and just put in social selling index LinkedIn. And if you're in Google, you should come down to this one right here that says Social Selling Index, SSI. I want you to click on that. And it says get your score free. I want you to get your score. And this is going to tell you.
You lost it.
Okay, let's go back. Social Selling Index,
On LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
so you said which one?
But
Right.
you do this through Google?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, right, and I want you to choose the one that has SSI in parentheses. This one right here. Okay. Everybody with me?
No.
No, not yet.
No.
Okay. A second.
So from the first one,
Yeah, I don't want you to do the one that's an ad. I want you to just click on this result, the one that says Social Selling Index SSI.
I got mine.
I don't have it.
SSI.
Okay? You're going to come to a page like this. Get your score free.
Okay, why is this not on the page? What do you?
I'm sorry.
Why is it is not one of the options to SSI?
Are you in Google?
Google.
I mean,
Yes.
So what we need you to do is put
What does it really mean?
So I'm going to tell you exactly what it means. Right. That one. Okay? And
I
then,
didn't put the name now.
no, we're not logging. You do need to be logged into LinkedIn. Get your score. All right. So, you know what? It's all upside here, right? So if your score, you think your score is low, no worries. That's what we're here to change. This number is derived from 4 areas. Establishing your professional brand, that's your profile. The second, finding the right people, connecting with the right people. The third, engaging with insights. That's sharing, liking, commenting on other people's content or posting your own. And building relationships, talking to people through LinkedIn, asking for introductions, making introductions. There are some people I actually only talk to through LinkedIn. I might even send them a proposal. You can send them a resume right through LinkedIn. Right? So here, the reason I show you this is not to say, wow, what's everybody's score? It is to look at these 4 areas, assess where your scores are the lowest, and I'll give you activities to do so you can increase the scores in those areas. Right?
What's an ideal score range?
So 70 or more is a really great score. Right? On your profile, I'd like everybody to have at least 20 or more. You're never going to get to really 25 on your profile because LinkedIn always wants you to add something or change something, right? So it's always being updated. Usually, engaging with insights will be the lowest score for most people in a group this size.
What is the score called? Like, if I have an 87, what does that mean? What do I say my score is?
You would say your score is 87.
But
your
what is that
collective
called?
score.
What is that score called?
The social selling index score.
Okay, social selling index.
Yep. Right, so here, I can scroll down And you can change this, so you can see how you go to a lot of networking events and you connect with people, that score is gonna go up in one area, right? You're gonna increase. But you can see here, people in your industry, 24 for people in my industry. People in my network, I have a really active network, and their score is only 50, right? So this is where you can say, if this score for people in your industry is really low, wow, it's a really great opportunity for you to stand out, right? By just doing certain things on LinkedIn. This is just a guide, right? It's a guide to say, these are the areas, if I get better in these areas, I'm gonna look better on LinkedIn, okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you know it's referring to people like in your job group? Because this is saying sales professionals, and I'm not a sales professional.
There's something that you have on your profile that's indicating that industry to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn looks at what's on your profile, how their algorithms work to connect you and say, hey, these are people you might know, these are jobs you might be interested in. And this is why we want to really dial your profiles in. And sometimes we just need to check on that, right? Because sometimes we have something in there inadvertently, but it's skewing something. So that's what that tells me. All right. I'm going to jump through this because I want to really get it. Building a great profile. And I'm actually going to jump into LinkedIn because it's actually more fun to get inside of LinkedIn. I'm just going to pull someone up who I think has a great profile. She's a consultant. So I'm going to go through her profile and tell you all the things I like about her profile. I know. It's like she's trademarked her name. Background image. 4-color background image. Better than the default, which is just the blue default. Pick something you like, something you're passionate about. Find an image that you can drop in. That's 4-color. So this tells me she actually did a TEDx talk, so I already know something about her. Right? It could be a cityscape of DC or Alexandria, right? It could be something nice, but it draws people in. The 4-color image just draws people in. Yours could be a great shot of pharmacist, right? You know, in a pharmacy setting, right? So think about giving people context. We want to create context for ourselves so that people understand who we are. Once again, we look at so many profiles, and I said to the group today, I probably looked at 30 CEO profiles, and there were probably 50% of them, I had no idea what kind of company these people ran. Because they were really cryptic on LinkedIn. It's not helpful.
Yeah, how do you come up with that?
So how do you literally put it in? I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to scan her profile, and then we're going to jump into settings, and then I'm going to show you how to do some of this. So I love this. I think it's great. Great photo, right? An updated photo is going to make you look younger than a photo that's 5 or 10 years old. You want to be the only person in the photo, and you want it to be as professional as possible. I do reserve to be 1 hair color, 1 pair of glasses behind. So, you know, like everybody gets a little bit of grace there, but try to have it as up to date as possible. Has anybody noticed this green and white button recently on LinkedIn?
It means that that you're on.
Right, so it's a new setting feature. This tells me she's online right now. She's on LinkedIn on her mobile device. If you only see the green button, the green circle, she's on her desktop. So what a good time to reach out to somebody, right? When you see this, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll message Claudia because she's a first level connection now because I think she's on LinkedIn. Likelihood is she'll respond faster.
Do you see that doc for only first level or for anyone?
It depends. If you're a premium member, you see it for everybody. First, if you're a basic member, which most people we work with are, so it's kind of iffy. I think they're going to roll it out for everybody. But some people do and some people don't. By the way, LinkedIn rolls out all of their changes randomly over time. So you might see something here today where you're like, I don't have that.
Okay.
It's just because that's how LinkedIn rolls them out.
Right, so how does Claudia have her pictures to the left? That's what I want to
This is the new layout.
And you can adjust your profile to do this?
No, this is automatic, so you may not have it quite yet. This started rolling out about 2 weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago. I think it's a great new layout, I like it. So notice, here's Claudia. The first level connection, I can tell that, so it's first level, second, third, right? We're gonna focus on first and second level people. I can message her. Here, contact info. Right? This shows me, this is her URL. I'm going to show you how to shorten that up for each of you. Website, so I can go look at her website. Here's her email address. Right? First level connections, you can see email addresses. They changed a feature, we'll look at it in settings, where some people, even if they're a second or third level connection, you can still see their email address now. Here's her Twitter handle. So I already have, I haven't even like scrolled down. I also can tell she's a premium member. So do I think Claudia's using LinkedIn? Pretty much, right? She's got good content, she's got a lot of connections, 500 plus connections. She's a premium member, and she's active right now. I'm always looking for indicators on LinkedIn that somebody's there, they're using it, and they're engaged on LinkedIn. Right? I'm not going to go, if Claudia had no content on her profile and 39 connections, I'm not going to reach out to her through LinkedIn. It could be 6 months before she ever notices. Right? But I still know Claudia might be a good person. I can still reach out to her maybe through her website. Here, now remember, Claudia is a consultant right now and a speaker. Oh, I'm going to show you this. So here, in her headline, she has keywords. Workplace culture, leadership expert, speaker, author. These keywords are critical to weave through your LinkedIn profile, from the very top all the way through the profile. The more those keywords are woven through your profile in narrative form, so we don't want to just stuff them in there, the more LinkedIn's like, oh, I know who this person is. Oh, here's some opportunities that probably would fit for that person. So once again, dialing it in. So I want everybody to...
And how do we know which are the right keywords?
Okay, good question. So you want to look at job descriptions that you're interested in. So when we work with people in career transition to help them write their profiles, the first thing we'll say is share with us 3 or 4 jobs that you're interested in. And then we're going to go and we're going to create a word cloud. Has anybody ever created a word cloud? Okay, so let's just do this. We'll just use Claudia's profile. So here's Claudia's summary. If you do nothing else, write a great summary. Because some people will never scroll down into your experience area. Anecdotally, my youngest daughter is graduating from college on Sunday. In January, she updated her LinkedIn profile, looking good. Within 10 days, she had 10 interviews set up.
Wow.
Guess what they all did when they called her? When can you start? What's your time frame? 2 weeks? She was like, I'm graduating in May. She was very clear on her LinkedIn profile that she was graduating in May. Nobody read it. She called me, she was like, none of these recruiters read anything about on my profile. And then they were annoyed when I said I couldn't start working. People don't read a whole lot, right? So we have enough content here that if they do read and pay attention, it's there, so we have context. But here, if we just get a great summary done, that would be a huge accomplishment.
I've been reading some articles recently that indicate you're actually better off to have a narrative format rather than the bullet points. Is that, you
I like
agree with
narrative.
that?
Yeah. Sometimes we'll do narrative with bullet points, just we don't ever just do bullet points. Once again, context. Right? She's writing in the first person. Here's her value proposition. It's pretty clear what she does. I inspire leaders and motivate employees to deliver the results businesses need. right? So she goes on and talks about that. And then she comes down here. Prior to starting, I served as Associate General Counsel, Global HR and Litigation for the Hershey Company. So here's her credibility. Here's what she's doing, what she wants to do, and here's her credibility statement, right? Down here, she actually has video. So right 8 to 10 seconds, 8 to 12 seconds on somebody's profile. I actually watched her video. I spent 15 minutes on her LinkedIn profile. It's kind of crazy. I know a lot about Claudia now, right? So when you do a summary, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come to a website called worditout.com. There's tons of these. I just happen to use this one all the time. I hit create. I drop this in. Oh, you know what? I am a Mac person, so if I seem like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I'm on a PC. Control C.
What do you think about using the word cloud as your background picture? I know someone who did that.
Yeah, somebody I was with this week did this. Did it.
You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Right, so here's what comes up. Leaders, humans, zone, business, through. Through is not a particularly good keyword, right? So I did that. We haven't worked on this. I've not done this for her, so there would probably be some words, but the larger the word, the more prominently it's used. So we do want to find, so I'm saying, so take these job descriptions that you're interested in, run them through the word cloud, see what words come up largest in that job description, and make sure it's on your LinkedIn profile, right? Do it for the skills area, qualifications. Like, make these word clouds. Otherwise, you're not going to know what words are important to them, but I guarantee whoever's using LinkedIn is using those words very specifically when they're looking in their searches. Does that make sense?
How do you run the words through again?
Right, so all we're going to do, all I did, so we write a lot of LinkedIn profiles, and we always just double check our profiles when we're done before we send them to the client to make sure, like we'll say, what are some of the keywords that are really important to you? So if we had written this, I would copy this, and I just go to my word cloud, I pasted it in, I went to create, pasted it in, I hit generate. They're always going to come up different each time you do it, right? So this is a really quick way of just sort of editing. Am I close? So if you have a lot of words, the largest words are I, me, about, got to do a little editing, right? We want those keywords. The keywords cannot include the following words: creative, strategic, results-oriented, motivated. There is a whole list of LinkedIn's most overused words. We don't want any of those buzzwords in there. Motivated, strategic, results-oriented, it's the creative.
And what, in our, it's like a cliche, but do they, job seekers or hiring managers, do they, are they first to do this?
Just overused. Everybody at this level should be all of those things, right? It's a given.
Yeah,
I mean, and remember, if you read those words over and over on everybody's profile, you're not standing out. So talk about those accomplishments, right? Talk about translating those skills. Like, how many of you want to change industry, right? Apply those skills from the past industry and how they would be used in the new industry. Tell a story, right? Like, we always try to find somebody's hook. Like, what are you most passionate about? Talk about how you solved a problem, grew revenue, raised a lot of money, even if it's for a volunteer organization, right? Just try to find something where you can stand out. Okay? All right. So what I'd like to do, I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit more. So notice, first person. Definitely much more approachable than third person. Some people are not comfortable writing in the first person. I get that. But do try. Because once again, it's automatically going to sound more interesting. Okay? Keep your paragraphs short. I would probably break this up a little bit because remember 60% of people will look at your LinkedIn profile from their phone. So a regular sized paragraph can get very dense looking very quickly. We want to make it really easy for people to be able to scan your profile. If you're funny, you can be funny on LinkedIn. If you do not know if you are funny, do not test it on the net. Test it at home with the kids, family, your friends first. Right? But that personality, that's going to maybe make you stand out. People think, oh, this business thing, it's going to be corporate. Somehow you have to find this very kind of conversational tone on LinkedIn. Right? So I'm not very formal. I don't want to sound super corporate. Now, depending on your industry, you may need to sound a little bit more conservative than I do. She's very corporate, came out of a huge corporate environment, very engaged and very engaging on LinkedIn. And when you meet her, she sounds just like her LinkedIn profile. So it really needs to be you. Your online should be exactly the person they meet when you show up. Okay? So now I can see how Claudia and I are connected. And that she has a good network. I see that she's sharing content on LinkedIn. She's exactly the ideal person. She's got 2,600 connections/followers. Most of those are probably connections, but because she's creating content, she can have people following her. Gerard, this is what I was talking about. This is her article, long-form content on LinkedIn. Just like that.
How important are articles?
I think they're super important. So I love the fact that you can use LinkedIn as a publishing platform. So we do that. The articles are great. More important almost now than articles are more interesting. People are pictures, people with people. Right?
We're putting videos on there too.
And videos, yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn loves videos, but LinkedIn loves content. So it just raises, like, so Robert and I realized in a 5-minute conversation, we have a mutual connection. He shares a lot of content on there, and he schedules it all. So everybody's like, I don't have time to schedule it. I have lots of clients who just sit down on a Saturday morning or Tuesday night while they're watching Dancing with the Stars, and they schedule all their content. And they use something called Buffer or Hootsuite. So you can definitely find ways to do that.
Is there flexibility for what you can do for packaging your content?
What do you mean? So tell me a little bit what you mean by that.
If you have videos, if you have photography, you have articles, long form and short form.
Mm-hmm.
Is there are there options that LinkedIn can give you as far as packaging?
So you'll notice, for example, you can, Claudia has some videos on here, so these are uploaded. I'll show you where to do that. So you can do that. You can have your presentations on here, and then your long form content or your short form posts are all going to be under activities. Okay? Experience. A lot of people miss an opportunity to add in those keywords over and over again because they don't put any description under their jobs. Right? So they'll put their title, they'll put the company, the years they were there, where it's based, but they don't fill this in. And this is another opportunity to weave in those keywords and write the story. Where your summary is you at 30,000 feet, the experience area should be a little bit more technical, what you actually did day to day in that job. Here you can put specialties, right? Keywords again, more keywords. Operations, nonprofit, development, meeting planning, right? Whatever those are, And think about the more you weave them in, the better your chances of being found, because LinkedIn's going to raise your profile higher to get in front of people. Notice she has a logo here, and that's going to take me to her company page. Right, so she's got all of her information here. Education's on here. How many of you volunteer? Make sure your volunteer experience is on there.
I've read that LinkedIn does not share that anymore,
Doesn't share what?
your volunteer information.
That's right.
Right here.
I'll show you.
I don't dispute it, but
It's one of the new things that they're rolling out.
so it may be that they changed it. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, no problem.
Question.
Yes.
So, I've noticed that the most that I've been on LinkedIn lately, most people don't actually fill in the experience. Okay, most people put, this company, this company, this company. The question is, is your recommendation to basically put your resume up here? Because if I follow your footsteps, just put my resume up there.
Right, but we don't want to just post it up there. And
I mean-
typically, right, you want to format it, right, because you're looking for a job. So, yeah, you want to take your resume. When we build out somebody's profile, we'll take their resume, but we're going to transform it. We're not just going to copy and paste it in. Right?
So more
We
a
put it in-
narrative of your resume?
More of a narrative. In this role, I was responsible for the following, following things. My skills, I grew my skills by my experience in managing 6 people, right? So that, because if somebody looks at your whole profile and you don't have anything in here, they don't maybe actually know what you did. It also shows that you haven't taken the time to fill this out completely, right? So the person who does, if they look at a profile and gives them more context, and then they look at a profile that doesn't have any context, I know our recruiter just keeps moving, right? They don't have time to spend a whole lot of time reading everything. They've got to scan it really fast. So you've got to put enough context there that they can scan it and be like, oh, this person's probably good. And I'll tell you, we make our clients, we turn them into hiring managers through the recruiter platform. And we actually have to say to our clients, I think this person is somebody worth talking to. And the CEO might say, there's something on their LinkedIn profile. Why would you even suggest that we talk to this person? And so the recruiter has to make a case. The recruiter can only make so many cases, right? So we want to make it easy for that person. And I'm not trying to make it difficult. I just want you to be able to present yourself in the best way so you have the most chances of getting the conversation going. Okay? All right, let's take a look. So volunteer experience. Skills and endorsements. You can be endorsed, so your skills should mirror those keywords. A lot of times we turn these skills off, but you can, they are good because they reinforce those keywords and your skills, and once again, recruiters are searching and sourcing that way.
I've heard 2 different sides now. I've heard endorsements are more important than recommendations, but I just recently heard the recommendations are more important because they take longer to fill out. It's more of a story than
Right.
the endorsements really aren't that important.
Right, I don't think endorsements are that important. Because what happens is, and it's a little bit different now because LinkedIn's kind of reined that in a little bit on the endorsements. But people were just going down the list and, endorsement. It's kind of gratuitous after a while. What's definitely more important are the recommendations, because people have genuinely, spent a few minutes writing something about someone. But recruiters do pay attention to the recommendations and even the endorsements. Okay? Here, languages. How many of you speak more than one language? Make sure that's on your profile. Honors and awards. That can be on your profile. So LinkedIn, I'm just going to jump over to my profile for 1 second. So here, you can see, right here, you can add all of these different sections into your profile. So you don't have to add every section in. You do need to add in all these sections that are appropriate for you. right? So under accomplishments, publications, if you've written for any industry publications, certifications. Certifications, how many people have certifications? Great, spell them out. Don't just put the acronym in there, because the acronym, once again, may not mean something to somebody, right? But and the other part is, when you spell it out, it's probably a good keyword for you.
What if it's not part of your job search? For example, like what if you got a certification in yoga teaching, but you're not asking to be a yoga teacher?
Right, so put it on there. Yeah, I would, because it tells me something about you, lifelong learner, you know, kind of focused on something else, interesting person, does yoga. That might be how somebody connects with you, and you do yoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of serendipity involved here, I have to say too. So I would add it on.
I have, for my resume, I have two different versions. I have a lot of mid-level experience and a little executive experience, and I apply for each kind of job. On LinkedIn, I'm concerned if I put my executive experience, then I apply for a mid-level job, people will think, oh, overqualified. And so, like, I'm thinking for me, for LinkedIn, I would just want something short and sweet and kind of generic, and then I can send a targeted version of my resume.
Great idea, right?
That's
That,
okay.
if that works for you, have a strategy, and that's a strategy, right? Absolutely. Right, because then you can speak to it once you talk to somebody. One thing I would recommend, if anybody's not in their current job and they have not updated their LinkedIn profile, but they've updated their resume, I would definitely suggest updating your profile. Because a lot of times people don't want to update their LinkedIn profile. But once again, for a recruiter or a hiring manager, if they see that they're not the same, they might be curious. Yeah.
So what if you're looking for two very different kinds of jobs? So I can create two different kinds of resumes.
Mm-hmm.
I can only create one LinkedIn profile. So what's the strategy with your LinkedIn profile?
Right, so we were talking about that earlier. So you're going to have to use your summary as a way to kind of connect the dots. That while you're doing this, you're also interested in this, right? I mean, there are a lot of people now that have multiple gigs and, you know, consulting projects and lots of things. So you have to, I think the best way is to use your summary, write really great content to kind of help explain it, right? People are actually pretty open-minded these days. The job market's changed. I mean, you know, when I first started doing these, there were a lot of people looking for jobs, right? The job market has changed. We were talking about it being a gig economy, right? As long as you're reasonably transparent about it, people understand. People understand the stories behind everybody's LinkedIn profile and resume. You just have to be comfortable explaining, right? And people also understand you've got one LinkedIn profile. Don't have multiple LinkedIn profiles, right? That's really confusing. You're one person, one personal brand. There's a 50% chance they're going to choose the wrong one if you have more than one. Okay, what I'd like us to do, great questions. Any other questions before I move to another area? Come up to the top under Me, and I'd like us to look at settings and privacy for a moment. Couple minutes. We're not going to look at all of them, but I do want to pay attention to some of the ones that I think are really important. Here, so you'll see that there are 4 tabs here. There is Account, so that's your LinkedIn account, Privacy, Ads, and Communication. Just be comfortable and know what's in here. Spend about 10 minutes here. LinkedIn's always rolling out new features here. They don't tell people. You kind of need to pay a little bit of attention. If you're concerned about it, privacy and security, you can add a 2-step verification in here. Right, so here, name, location, and industry, and make sure that's updated correctly. But I want you to go to privacy. Here, first thing I want us to look at, edit your public profile. This is the profile that people see who are not connected to you. Notice up here in the top right. Notice mine just says Colleen McKenna. If yours says your name and a string of numbers and letters, anybody have that? Okay. We're going to come in to this blue pencil, that's always your edit pencil, and you're going to get rid of those, all the numbers, letters, hyphens, and you're just going to put in your name, first name, last name. You're going to clean up. This is your URL. Just like a website address, it's your URL for LinkedIn. If somebody already has your name, when you hit save and it says, oops, not available, put in an initial, put a number at the end. You just have to come up with another variation. What are you going to do with that? It needs to be on your resume as a hyperlink. Right? Make it really easy. Put it in your email signature. Right? With one click, people can jump right over to your LinkedIn profile. Especially if you share your name with a whole lot of people, you've got to make it really easy for people to be able to find you. Right? You don't want them to be searching all over. If you do a presentation, it might go in the presentation, but definitely in your email and very definitely on your LinkedIn, on your resume. You can then come down here and you can turn on and off sections to be more visible or less visible. If you're in a career transition, you want to be visible. Make sure your photo is public. Right? Pretty much now, if people don't see a photo for you, they just keep moving. Right? We are just visually wired as human beings. People want to see a person's photo.
Can you add a photo on your volunteer activities? Is it possible?
No, you're just going to add your personal photo at the top.
On the face. That's it.
Yep. All right, so headline, all of these things, you can see I have showing, right? So be visible so people can see you right through Google. That's okay, right? If you're looking for a position. Down here where it says machine translated profile, turn that off. We do not want LinkedIn and Google translating our profile into languages, different languages, okay?
So we'll take an investment of time to perfect.
Yeah. The time you spend working on your profile will probably be your biggest investment of time on LinkedIn, no doubt. Okay? I'm going to hit the back button and I'm going to go back to my settings area. Who can see your email address? Remember we saw Claudia's email address? So you can say only you, first degree, first and second, everyone on LinkedIn. I would not really recommend the last two. I am comfortable with my first level connections, having my email address. You can go to my website and get my email address. It's not rocket science to get email addresses anymore. But, you might just want to manage that a little bit. Okay? Who can see your connections? This is important. Your choices are only you, which means you have a closed network, or your connections, you have an open network. So if we're connected, and you choose only you, the only people I can see in your network are the people we share in common. If yours is your connections, and we're connected, I can see everybody in your network.
What's your view on that?
So once again, it depends what you're trying to do, right? Usually, mine's open. But I have a lot of connections who are CEOs, and I feel like I need to protect some of those connections, right? So I've turned it down a little bit. Because I'm also connected to some other people who do what I do. Right?
When you say turn it down, do you mean you tailor those individual connections?
No, we can't do it on an individual.
How
So
do
we
you turn it
can.
down?
So you choose only you.
Oh, okay, it's on or off.
Right, it's on or off.
Okay.
It's open or closed.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, only you is only you personally?
No. So if you and I are connected, right, we are.
Oh.
If you look in my network, you'll only see the people we share, common connections. You cannot see my entire network.
Oh, okay.
And I'll probably go change it again, but to open it, for years and years, that mine was always your connections, so anybody could look inside my network, right? So here, does that make sense? Pretty good with that? I just want you to see these features because I think they're important to know about. Viewers of this profile also viewed. Come in and turn this off. Could be other people who do what you do. So for recruiters looking at your profile, and suddenly they see some others who are on the right-hand side, you might want to turn that off. Right? How about that? Turn it off. Who can see your last name? Everyone. Right? You want to make sure people can see your last name.
So, sorry, I have a question about the viewers of your profile and
Sure.
turning that off.
Yeah.
Then if you turn yourself off, if they're looking at, say, my former colleagues, will my name not appear next to them?
So your name will, so it's not about how you're going to appear, it's whether they're going to appear next on your profile.
Okay, so if they're looking at someone, let's say that's comparable to me, and they have theirs turned on.
You could show up.
I could show up.
Yes.
So there's no downside to turning it
No.
off in that way?
Nope.
Okay, that's good to know.
Nope. Okay, profile viewing options. This is really important for everybody here. How many of you have a basic account in LinkedIn? You're not paying for any premium. Okay, pretty much everybody. And how many of you look to see who's viewed your profile? Okay. Number one activity on LinkedIn is looking at people to see who viewed my profile, right? So don't pick up the phone, don't go to a meeting without looking at somebody's profile first. Try to find something that you can see on their profile that maybe starts a conversation. But if you're a basic member in LinkedIn and you want to see those 3 to 5 people who've looked at your profile, you need to be transparent here. You need to be in the selection. If you move down to private, which you can do, you won't see who's viewed your profile. Okay? So what I tell people, if you're like scouting and prospecting and looking at different companies and recruiters and hiring managers, come down and you can be anonymous, just batch it together and kind of do that scouting all at once and then go back. I probably change mine 2 or 3 times a day depending on what I'm doing. Okay? Do not be the person in the middle. This selection is not helpful to anybody. Because if yours is selected as whatever it is in your industry, and they click on that, it's going to be you and probably 9 other people who do what you do. So it's not helpful. Okay? All right, here's this manage active status. Remember the green dots? So you can turn this off. You can say only your connections or all LinkedIn members. Okay. Now I want you to come down here. Download your data. This is going to take about 10 minutes to do, so we're going to do it and then go do some other things. So mine's grayed out because I've already done it earlier today.
And what is that for?
We're going to download your first level connections.
Oh.
Right? Very hard to see all of your first level connections all together. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to do it on your phone, maybe not even on your tablet. I have a PDF on how to do this though, okay? So what I want you to do is come in, I want you to choose connections, download archive.
Request?
Yeah, I'm sorry, request archive. Okay. Request archive. It's going to take about 10 minutes. You'll get an email. So we're going to come back. And down below, job seeking preferences. Let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. 80% of people on LinkedIn say they're open to an opportunity. So our recruiter, when she's working on a project, when she's in Recruiter, the first thing she does is look for the people who say they're open to an opportunity. Now LinkedIn Recruiter says, hey, do you want to see people who are relocating to a particular area? So about a month ago, she was trying to find very specific engineers for a manufacturing company, really having a hard time in Baltimore. She went to the new filter called relocating. She found 4 people, and within 6 hours had 3 conversations. So that's a great new feature. So if you are open to relocating, kind of good to know, right? So turn that on. Sharing your profile when you click apply, so you know you can apply for jobs right through LinkedIn. Store your information, right? You can turn that on. And saving answers, job application answers. Wouldn't that be kind of helpful? Right? Like you can save some of those answers and you don't have to retype them. Okay? So these settings are people looking for a new position.
So this, we don't have an option to put our resume up here. Oh.
Yeah, there is. If you look, there is something new, and Erin on our team just wrote about it. Let's see where it is.
So if you
There
apply-
is now a resume. You can put it as content on your under your summary section. Let me just see something. Okay, Microsoft Word. Choose whether work experience descriptions from your LinkedIn profile can be shown in Resume Assistant, a feature within Microsoft Word. I haven't played with it at all, but we do have a blog post on our website about this. So this Resume Assistant, Microsoft now owns LinkedIn, right? All of your LinkedIn profiles are going to become, over time, more visible within Microsoft products. Outlook, Calendar, so people can pull you up and see your LinkedIn profile. Once again, so you're going to be much more visible even when you're not on LinkedIn. Ads, I'm not going to pay attention to that right now because I want to keep moving. And communication, if you start become more active on LinkedIn, especially if you join groups, you might get a whole lot more communication from LinkedIn, from these groups and everything. You can come in and turn this down if you need. Let me talk about groups for 1 minute. LinkedIn's going to reinvigorate groups because they've kind of gone wonky for a while. If you need to jumpstart your network or rebuild your network, join groups. Because groups give you access to people without connecting with them.
So what's causing that change?
Well, in the information that I've read, they just decided they're going to start. When they did this last version of LinkedIn a year ago, they hid groups. People couldn't find the groups they belong to, right? So now they're going to put them and they're going to kind of energize them, give them a new look, and they're going to weave them into the homepage feed. So they're going to be much more visible, and they're going to try to get them going again, just because they haven't paid attention to them. LinkedIn's funny. They're super siloed. They've grown really fast. It's 15 years old, and they only pay attention to certain things at certain times.
Okay.
So this is really
No
fun.
real reason.
But a lot of group managers were really upset with that last round of changes.
Right, okay, thank you.
And groups are a great place to be, right? You can meet a lot of people in groups and then connect with them. Okay? All right, I want to jump back over and I want to look at your network. Actually, there's something I want to show you first. Okay. So here I am on my home page. So here, people who viewed my profile. So because I'm a premium member, I can see for the last, 6-8 weeks, people that have looked at my LinkedIn profile. So notice somebody who was private, one person with the job title recruiter. Here's Renee, second level connection. I can see how I'm connected to her. See this blue connect button? Do not press that button. Do not press this button. Because when you press this button And in all the random places that LinkedIn puts that button, one thing happens. A default connection request goes out. It says, hi. I'd like you to join my LinkedIn professional network. Now, if we're in this room together, there's grace everywhere, right? Like we can connect with people real quickly right here. But if you're trying to connect with a hiring manager or a CEO of a company or somebody you really want to network with, personalize the connection request. Right? It makes a huge difference. LinkedIn's 15 years old. So for 15 years, people have been getting the same message. Hi, I'd like you to join my LinkedIn professional network. You gotta do better.
Plus,
right?
if they ignore it, they get hit again a couple of times.
Right. But if people
It's
don't,
annoying.
but if I don't know people, so I'm going to take you over. Now I'm going to take you into my network. So here I have a bunch of connection requests, right? I would say of these 45, probably 2 or 3 are personalized. Now, it's okay if we're just sitting here and we're doing it and we're in the same room. But if this is somebody I want to get an interview with, or a company I have a connection to and I want to try to get an introduction, I need to personalize it. I don't know Jeremy, but he's at least personalized his connection request. I can see how I'm connected to him, right? I can reply to him right here. Hey Jeremy, thanks for your connection request. Happy to connect, right? Whatever it might be. So a lot of times, if I don't recognize somebody, so here's William Silva. I've never heard of him. We only have 2 common connections. She's a really good friend of mine. I might hit ignore. Because I do want to know a good percentage of the people in my network. Now, I might also look at his profile and be like, oh, I should know him. So don't dismiss people. Just be attentive, but do personalize your connection requests.
So, yeah, all right. So how do we handle this now? The good example is that I personalized a connection, a request to a hiring manager, to a director that have hiring powers. I was connected by, I say, hey, this person gave me your information. I'm just looking to connect.
Right.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do,
Yes.
so let me go back here. So down below are people you may know. Right, so I don't know Lori. Once again, I have a connect button. And by the way, you can personalize your connection request from your iPhone. There are 3 dots in the top right corner that will let you personalize it. It's just a lot of the things that we're talking about. If you have a desktop, it's going to be a whole lot easier than trying to do it on a tablet or a phone. Right? This is your career. We're talking about trying to find a job. Try to be on a desktop version. It'll just be so much easier because we don't want to have typos in our messages. So here's Lori. I might look at her profile. I'm going to always connect from her full profile. Because notice, I can now add a note. Hi Lori, came across your profile on LinkedIn. I see we have some common connections, including so-and-so and so-and-so. Or, you know what, I was talking with John. John mentioned I should connect with you. I'd like the opportunity to connect. The next most important message is when they accept that connection request, you send a follow-up message. Thanks for connecting. I like to know the people in my network. I'd love the opportunity to do some networking with you. Or I'd like to be able to talk with you about a couple of jobs you have available in your company. People drop off way too soon. So on the sales side, it's 8 to 12 touches before you can probably get a meeting, right, Lynn?
I talked about it on Monday, yes.
Right? LinkedIn is no different. People typically, and most salespeople, stop at 4. We do a lot of outreach for clients on LinkedIn, 4, 5, 6 messages. Sometimes people accept that connection request 3 months later, right? We're trying to find people in a ready state to have a conversation with us. People are busy, people are moving. So we kind of have to cast a wide net and personalize those follow-up messages as much as possible. Okay, so definitely make it a best practice to connect from their full profile and personalize it. Does that make sense? Okay. Here are my invitations, manage all. So now I can see where the invitations that I sent are. Okay? So I can see the connection requests that I've sent out over the last month, let's say. LinkedIn monitors and knows how many connection requests you've sent and how many have been left pending. And if you don't personalize them, they're paying attention to that. So they don't want you to connect with a whole lot of people you don't know. Now, on some clients, we're doing business development for them. We're connecting them with people they don't know, but every message is personalized. We've never had a client even get a warning on LinkedIn, and we're sending out hundreds of messages per week. Here,
I'm sorry, where do you find
so we were on, I went to manage all under network. Manage all. Click on that. So any old invitations, if they're older than a couple of months, just withdraw them. And 3 weeks later, you can send them a new message. Okay, because now they've just been pushed down in all of the invitations they've gotten, right? So they're probably not going to even see it. Okay? So just an important best practice. Let's look at jobs. Here, has anybody personalized this area on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Yep. So come in, career interest, and you can put in job titles, right? What locations, full-time, what kind of work you're looking for. And this is going to help the size of the company you want. Yeah.
Can you tell me again how you got into this?
Right,
path?
absolutely. Jobs at the top. And you can search for jobs, right? So we'll do that in a second. But here I want to create these preferences first, because then LinkedIn will send me jobs that I'm actually interested in. They can see what's on my profile, but if you're changing industries, you definitely want to set this up. Question?
So I see on the LinkedIn jobs that they'll have X amount of applicants, and most of the jobs on there, 145 people applied. So, so 145, it seems a lot of applicants have applied. So my question is this a good way to find jobs because of the amount of people that respond?
I think so. I think so. I mean, there could be, you can also apply directly to the company, but that tells me a lot about it. And if you're a premium member, it'll actually tell you how qualified you are for that position, right? 145 people have applied, and you have a 49% chance of qualifications for that job, right? So that tells me, should I spend time here, right? It gives me information that I think helps. But if this is where the recruiters are spending their time, then I think that this is maybe where you want to apply.
So there's a section on this that allows you to set a no or have a no for recruiters. Do you recommend pulling that out?
I think that's probably a good idea. I mean, really, before LinkedIn, you would send things off to whom it may concern because you didn't know who posted the job, right? Now we can see the people who posted the job. Sometimes, depending on how they've set it up. Sure.
When you have that job that you're a top applicant, when it says you're top 25% of the number of applicants, how do they factor that number?
Based on what's on your profile, what's on from your skills, your experience, your education, your
compared to the job description? Okay.
And probably the other candidates.
And the other candidates too.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Okay? So I would definitely fill this out. Right, we're just trying to use as much as we can on LinkedIn to optimize our opportunities, right? I think that that's what's important. So here, you can come in, and so I can, let's just say I'm going to put in pharmacist. Now, it's gonna come up that I'm not very qualified for that, for a good reason, right? So, and I'm gonna put, it's gonna say, what are you thinking about there? Right, so I'm gonna put in Washington DC Metro. Oh, see, I didn't even know about this, right? Okay, good. All right, so I want to look at this. So here, so notice what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a job with Know That Health, right? I can save it or I can apply for it. Here's my job description. So I'm going to pick up that job description. I'm going to make a quick word cloud of that. Okay? Premium, 1 applicant. Right? So you only see that when there's more than 10. This tells me a little bit about their hiring practices and, you know, what's been going, their trends over the last 2 years. They have 8,600 employees. Their average tenure is 7 years. So one person from UB went there. I went to UB. Right? Here's some other companies I might want to also look at. Okay? See more company insights. Here's some people on their team. A little bit about them. Right? Notice the search alert. I would definitely do this. These search alerts. So if you're a pharmacist or whatever jobs you're looking for, right, you can create a search alert that says, these are the types of jobs I'm looking for. I want a daily or a weekly update on any of those jobs that I'm looking for, pharmacists in Washington, D.C. And LinkedIn will send you an alert on that, right? So you might be the first to know about it or among the first to know about it. And you're just going to save that job search.
Question, please. Yes, you say you only see the number of applicants if it's more than 10. So 1 means 11. 1 applicant means what? The number of people that apply.
Yeah, right now it said, to me that says they just had 1 applicant for that job.
So you said you only see the number if it's more than 10.
Oh, right. So yeah, so I'm not really seeing. So I don't know what that is actually then, right?
So it's 1 applicant or not?
There's other info they give you once there's
Yeah, I'm
more
not
than
getting
10.
all the info
They don't
on
have
it
enough.
because they don't not enough people have applied for it.
To,
yet.
to clarify,
The pool.
Go ahead.
to clarify, if there's more than 10, it'll give you an idea of where you stand. You're in the top 50%, the top 20%. And it'll show you that so many people at senior level have applied, so many people at a junior level have applied, things like that.
Right, so here are some filters I can apply. So let me just click on this one. So I can look for these jobs by the date they're posted, LinkedIn features, jobs that are in your network where you know people, easy to apply. You can just apply right through LinkedIn, under 10 applicants, right? So maybe you want to look at the ones with under 10 applicants because not a lot of people have applied for that position. Here I can look at some of the companies. So this is telling me, for example, MedStar has 25 positions. I don't know if they're pharmacy. We'd have to click on that and look. Here is experience level. Right? So there's 32 mid-senior level. So use these filters to do your searches. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. But the question is now, not everybody applies through this and not all companies
Yeah.
use LinkedIn, right?
Right.
So-
Absolutely.
So this is based on the fact that they use the LinkedIn.
But you know what? You have more information than you did 2 hours ago, right? About
Yes.
that position,
That's true.
right?
Yes, because, and you know, the job market today, my notice is that is a lot of connection going on.
Yeah.
So sometimes they post a job just because the company policy require them to post. They already have people to fill the job. So you apply, you only applicant, but they don't call you. You know.
And if you just apply right on their website, you have none of this context,
Yeah.
right? So I say the same thing about business development. I have lots of clients who say, well, I'm just going to send an email to somebody. I'm like, great. This cup reminds me of an email. It's just a cup. If I send something through LinkedIn and connect with somebody, it's this room. right? I see context for them, I see who they know, I see other people that can help me get to that person, right? So it's like a little bit about the difference between one solitary action and seeing a whole community of people in context. Right? That's kind of how I look at it. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but it's kind of how I look at it. Here, I can come in and here are all my filters for jobs. So you want to set this up so it works for you. Diane, have you done like
I
set this?
haven't seen this, but I have done the main one that you shared.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the next question was, okay, so they say one applicant. Again, we said it's because that the one applicant from LinkedIn, right? Okay, the question that I'm asking is, okay, so when a company is recruiting, is there a way to know if, you know, they're using only LinkedIn or not?
No idea.
If we are looking to relocate to a specific area, I see how you can do filters to show which positions are in that area. Should we add something to the profile? Because, for example, like now, you know, now we would say Washington DC Metro, but if we're looking to relocate to a certain area, should we say it on the profile?
Yeah, I would put it in your summary.
Okay.
I actually have a client, we're working on their profiles, they're moving to Columbia, South Carolina, and we wove that into their profiles.
Oh, I see.
In the spring of 2019, I'll be relocating to Columbia, South Carolina full-time, looking forward to networking with people in Columbia who set up job searches for Columbia.
I see. Thank you.
Anybody, another question?
Yes, what's the filters?
So here, when I went into that particular job, I put in pharmacist here, right? And then I put in Washington, DC, and then it populates, right? It gives me.
That was in the drop down.
Yeah, right? There is this, the whole thing about LinkedIn being glitchy. Okay, here's all filters up here. Okay? Right? So this would be definitely one area that I would spend some time on. So here again, I just went back to the other view. Here are all the positions. Okay? All right. Let's go back over to settings and download your network. So here we're going to go back to me, settings and privacy. Privacy. Scroll down, download your data. Hit download. If it says download archive, it should be there now. Download it. It's going to be a zip file. I'm not sure I can open this. This isn't my computer, but we'll see. Yep, it's a CSV file, so it should open in Excel. Perfect. Watch this. Okay. These are all your first level connections. First name, last name, email, company, position, right? And when you connected with them. So what I typically do is I would sort this by position. And you know, you can connect with recruiters. Recruiters will connect with you. Most of the time their network will be closed because that's their database, right? There are recruiters who have 20, 30,000 people in their network. It's just a database. But you can sort it by position, and then you can see all of the people that are recruiters. Hey, Susan, I know that you specialize in nonprofits or public health or administration or, you know, and placing engineers. Let me know if you have any positions. We'd love to have the opportunity to talk with you. Remember, recruiters make money when they put people in jobs.
And how would you access that?
So I downloaded that. Remember, we archived our network. right? So now it opens into an Excel spreadsheet. So now what I want to do, this is where the fun starts. I want to come in and I want to put about 5 or 6, I don't know, put 5 columns in the beginning. This is going to show you, so typically our clients say, wow, I'm not connected to a lot of people I thought I should be connected to, or I thought I was connected to. Clients, right, strategic partners. Here, I'm going to call this column no, reach out. These are people I know, I haven't talked to in a while. Hey Sam, it's been a while since we've talked. Hope you're well, business is good, love to catch up. Colleen. Okay. Sam, just wanted to say hi, was thinking about you. By the way, if you know of anything interesting, kind of in a career transition, keep me in mind if you know anything interesting coming up. Right? Whatever that conversational message is, because remember, these are people you know. We have to nurture our first level network. People say to me all the time, I need more people to connect with and talk to. I'm like, no problem. No problem. We can find those people all day long. Who do you currently know that can help you? Right? That's what we want to uncover here. So if you would see, if I would see Peter in the line at Starbucks and strike up a conversation with him, I'm going to do it right on LinkedIn too. Same kind of conversation. Okay?
Quick question.
Uh-huh.
I had the impression the other day, as a premium member, do you have the limit amount of message you can send? Or?
No, not once you're connected to somebody. Once you're a first level connection, remember these are all my first level connections. I can message them all day, every day if I wanted to.
If the second level, no.
No. Right, second level, you have to connect with them, then you, and they accept it, then you can message them.
Isn't there a limit on emails?
So InMail.
Yes.
So InMail, yes, you get, depending on your level of premium membership, you get a certain number of InMails per month. InMails are LinkedIn's proprietary email platform. So if you're a basic member, you don't have them. What happens though is if you send InMails, people have to accept it. If they accept your InMail, you get a credit back. So we never run out of InMails, but we don't use them up front. The problem is most people don't know how to respond to an InMail. So you lose the credit, right? So you 15 or 30, you can go through those pretty quickly. So we keep InMails for later. Like if somebody, we send them a connection request first. If they don't respond to that connection request in a month, then we'll send them an email. Yeah.
So are you responding through LinkedIn, or are you responding through those emails on the right-hand side there, through the email address?
So I'm using LinkedIn. This is now showing me their email.
Okay, so you're not using that to respond, you're using
No.
LinkedIn.
At some point I might, but you'll notice a lot of people use their personal email. So if it's a business-to-business thing, like I wouldn't reach out to a recruiter through their personal email, unless they're a consultant.
So how did you know from that list who was a recruiter?
I would have to know either by their name.
I mean, you
or
have
by
to
their
know it, it
company.
doesn't tell you there. So
Well, it'll
just
tell
have
you
to
their
know.
company, right? So their company would, probably give me an indication of.
It tells position too, right?
Yeah, it tells their position, so you would see it in their, like if they had recruiter on here, right? So here in position, here I can see all the CEO, CIO, right? I can see all these people. So that kind of gives me a good idea. I typically sort it by position, so I can look at all the recruiters in one, all of them will be together, right?
Do you recommend that we upgrade to premium?
If you upgrade to premium, you can upgrade, LinkedIn's changed all the premium, but there is, I think, still the job seeker badge. It will elevate your profiles and searches for recruiters.
I have a
So
question
premium is all about access, yes.
If you upgrade to premium and you find the job you want to dial back your usage for a while,
Sound great.
how does the website treat that once you stop paying for it? Do they just hide all those options
No.
until you go premium again, or what?
Well, yeah, you won't have access to the same level of access, but LinkedIn's so used to people going from premium to basic, basic to premium. People do it all the time.
Okay.
So you just lose that access.
That takes me to the next question. How do they make money then?
LinkedIn makes 60%, almost 60% of their revenue from LinkedIn Recruiter, the product I mentioned. Selling Recruiter to clients.
So when they post the job there, they have to pay LinkedIn.
They have a seat to give them access. So they buy seats, licenses, to have access to the entire LinkedIn network. So about 57% of their revenue comes from recruiting, premium memberships, and advertising. That's their model.
Yeah, it's a business to business model. You, the consumer, is not paying.
Right. Well, it's just the premium memberships, but a lot of people, I mean, I would say 90% of the people we train are all on basic. Right? You can do everything we're talking about. I have not shown you any premium features really. You can look really great and be very effective on LinkedIn with a basic membership. Right? You'll get elevated up if you pay a little bit, no doubt. So here, let's just go back to this. The third column I want you to identify, and I think that this is absolutely so important. There's not a client that we have that we don't do this exercise with, is center of influence. Just put a check or an X in these columns, right? Some people might be checked in more than one column. Center of influence. Here, I'm going to also make a column for recruiter. If you are not connected to a lot of recruiters, start connecting with recruiters. They have huge networks. It'll give you more visibility, especially recruiters who are focused in on your industry. IT, engineering, manufacturing, whatever it might be, nonprofit. Okay? Here.
Is there any downside to that? No?
Downside to what?
Connecting to recruiters.
Not if you're in a career transition, right? You might, what are the next columns? I'm going to put in here is delete. There might be some people you need to take out of your network. It's okay to kind of prune your network. We do it all the time with people, right? They're just so random. It doesn't make sense to have them in your network. Now, there is value. You want to be careful, right? Because it might not be that person, but they might know somebody. I see it's kind of a
if you delete one person, you delete everybody that they talk to.
Right? So you want to have a good, diverse, healthy network, right? These are the most important people. More important to me than recruiters, actually.
Can you discuss center of influence a bit more? And I'm sure it varies depending on who you are and what you do, what you're looking for.
So to me, it's the people. Maybe they're colleagues that you worked with in previous jobs.
Classmates.
Right? Maybe it's actually somebody that you know who's in the same industry but different company, same association, maybe same professional association, right? Maybe you worked on a project, maybe you're a consultant and you worked on a project. Maybe that client becomes the center of influence. Right? Could be somebody completely outside of your industry, but they're super connected in DC or in Alexandria or in Baltimore. And they're just connected to a lot of people, and they're just natural connectors. People who are people want to help people. There's no doubt people want to help people. But they may not know how to introduce you. So, right, it might be a good idea to identify, 10 people and say, I'd love to take you for a cup of coffee. I'm in a career transition, or I'm starting a new consulting practice. I'd love to just sit and talk with you for a few minutes. Or even a phone call. We have a 15-minute call. If you know of anybody who might be hiring, I'd love for you to let me know. Here's my resume. Make it easy for them to make introductions for you. Right? But they should be people that you really know. They know, like, and trust you. Right? You've worked together. participated in a volunteer program with them, whatever it might be, they do need to know you. You don't want to just call anybody randomly. So if it's only 3 people in your network you can identify, that's 3 more people you can network with, really intentionally, right? And then you're going to say to them, how can I help you? Because we've talked a lot tonight about what you're going to get out of LinkedIn. You've got to be a good social citizen, right? Hey, I've built a really great network over the last couple of months because I've been really focused on networking on LinkedIn. If you need anything, let me know if I can help you. Right? Think about who's in your network. Look at your network. How can you connect 2 people, right? Like, I'm always kind of thinking, oh my gosh, that person should know that person, right? And I'll create an introduction. I'll be like, hey, by virtue of knowing both of you, I think you should know one another. Here's why. Take it from here. What's the first thing they're going to talk about?
You probably.
Not a bad thing, right? Right? So we just have to, like, once again, from our profile, we have to control our narrative. From our network, we got to leverage that network and nurture it so that people are willing to do a favor if we need a favor. Right? There's a woman in Baltimore. She's wicked, wicked smart. She's in cybersecurity. And about, I don't know, 6 months ago, she said, could you introduce me to this CEO? I was like, absolutely, except I don't even understand what you do. It's so far above my pay grade. Right? So I said, can you just write up a sentence or 2 about what you do? And she sent it to me, and I introduced her to that CEO. And probably just like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, she should probably know this guy. And I just went back to that email she sent me, and I picked it up, and I just copy and pasted it. And I'm like, hey, you should know this person. She's like really wicked smart. But I didn't have to think about it. So here I can make an introduction. It took me literally less than 30 seconds. Right? We've got to work. Because ultimately, everybody should think about not identifying your centers of influence, but becoming a center of influence in your own network. Right? I think that's kind of cool. Right? If you're a consultant, if you have an independent practice, you definitely want to work on that because that creates stickiness with your clients. Okay? So I do want you to take a look at this network and think about it. Is that helpful to look at it that way? How do you delete them? Great question. Let me show you. So if I go in, I'm just going to pull up. So here I'm in John's profile. If I come to his profile and I go to more, right here.
Are they notified?
No, they are not notified. The only way John would know that I removed them is if he pulled up my profile and instead of seeing a first on my profile, he would see a second. Okay? But if I don't actually know John, he's not going to know to do that anyway, right? So you can get rid of those people. I mean, you can do it every once in a while, and nobody's ever said, hey, what about that? So let me show you how to...
Please, do people ever go from your first to your second? I mean, how does ranking actually give first, second, or third place?
Yeah, everybody is identified by their connection to you, right? So we are connected directly,
Okay.
right? His connections are my second level. Okay?
It's quite possible that if you delete a first, they'll become a second, right?
Oh yeah, they will. If you remove them, they automatically become a second.
Yeah.
So you still keep all that second tier of people that are theirs?
No, not if you remove them. Right, if you remove them, you lose their network. So remember what we did when we were in the settings when I said turn off, right? Because these are some other people that are really competitors of John. So let me just look at something. This woman's going to wonder why I'm looking at her profile. I looked at her profile yesterday too. So notice she's a second level connection, right? I can hit connect. I can see how I'm connected to her, 12 mutual connections, right? So I'm gonna look and see how I'm connected to her. So Joe Joe, we share 141 common connections. These are all my first level connections, and they're also Una's first level connections, right? I don't know Una. So I'm gonna look at this list, and I'm gonna say, who could introduce me to Una? I'm gonna pick Rachel. Okay, so I'm gonna remember Rachel's name. I'm gonna come back to more. I'm gonna hit share profile. And I'm gonna say, put Rachel in there, Rachel Strella, she pops in. Here's Una's LinkedIn URL, right here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna come in down here, I'm gonna say, hi Rachel, it's great meeting you yesterday at the event. Really enjoyed our conversation. By the way, I noticed you're connected to Una. I'd really love the opportunity to connect with her and talk with her. Would you mind creating an introduction? If not, no worries. Because what I don't know is how well Rachel actually knows Una, right? Unless I've had a conversation with her about that. So I don't want to make her feel awkward. If not, no worries. I send it off. She's going to get that in her messaging center, right? She's going to pull that up. She's either going to forward it or she's going to come in. And she's going to create a new message. Wants me to take that out of there. Right, new message. She can put in, so let's pretend I'm just going to use two other names. So I can put in, for example, Lee Peters. Right, I can put people in here, and I can put another person in, and I can start a conversation right here, creating an introduction, all through LinkedIn. Right, so I'm going to share somebody's profile, ask for the introduction, and they can come right into their messaging center, send it. You can even attach your resume right here. Just in case you need, I see a job at, Una's place has a job I'm interested in. Would you mind sharing my resume with Una? Okay. Have we covered a lot of ground?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to kind of bring this home. This deck, if you want this deck, you can just let me know. I'm happy to share it with you.
Yeah. You want to show us how to put those pictures together?
Oh, put that picture together.
Profile pictures.
You're going to come back into your profile.
Yeah, like that.
Come to the blue pencil. Hit the blue pencil up here and drop in a photo.
You have two pictures there. I think that's
Right. So this picture has got to be a certain size, and you can see that right through LinkedIn. When I hover over it, it's got to be a certain size.
Okay.
This picture, I just click on this blue pencil and I upload my picture.
Oh, so
right.
There's
So
so there's two groups.
this is a background image,
Okay.
and this is your photo. Okay.
Okay.
So I just want you to look at. I can have 2 more minutes. I just want to talk about next steps, because we did cover a lot. Commit to 3 30-minute sessions a week. Schedule some time in your calendar just to be in LinkedIn. The more you get comfortable with where things are on LinkedIn, when they change, you won't be wigged out, because they will change. But if you kind of know where everything is, you can get a little comfortable. Right, we're going to work on our summaries especially. Next takeaway, please personalize your connection requests. Okay? Do your research. Look companies up. See how they're hiring. See what they're up to. And try to share some content. Share some of the 40+ content. Share some content from the industry you're in. What's happening? News, information. I want you to make it happen, right? You can really change how you look and how effective you are on LinkedIn. Remember, you're learning lots of skills here at 40+. Every employer wants you to be like able to plug and play, right? Jump in and be able to have all of these skills. So demonstrate online. You have some of these skills that they're looking for, especially these soft skills. Talk about those soft skills in your summer too. Great.
Repeat those three. Repeat those 3 points.
Commit to 3 30-minute sessions per
Yeah.
week.
I have done this 4 times in 3 days.
I'll
So
check.
right. Commit to some sessions, right? 30 minutes. Put them on your calendar. Personalize your connection requests. And I don't even care if they ever read your message. I just want you to have done it, because if they're savvy enough that they are paying attention, you're going to look smart. Right? If they don't see it, then make sure your follow-up message, they'll definitely see your follow-up message. Right? Research. Go to company pages and curate content. Just want you to be really out there on LinkedIn.
I have a question. How important is it to follow someone?
You could definitely follow the companies you're interested in, because
Or
then,
individuals, or individuals?
yeah, like influencers, people, absolutely, absolutely, especially for what the 2 of you do, right? Meeting planners, speakers. Sometimes those speakers might know of the jobs, right? And they probably have great networks. So connect with some like local regional speakers, absolutely. Like find people who have good networks and who are natural connectors, because they will connect with you.
I'd like to thank you for that typewriter that we all are old enough to recognize.
I love typewriters. I love them. One of my favorite things.
I collect antique type.
You do? Very cool. Right? Like that would be kind of cool. Like those personal things, leave those into your profile. I think that those make a huge difference. When I see people like, you know, they climbed Mount Everest, I'm like, wow, that's kind of a cool person, right? Like just, you know, I don't climb Mount Everest, so I wouldn't put that on my LinkedIn profile. But little things, right?
Yeah, Underwood that turned 100 years old.